United States. Okay, let me get into an overview of Chinese American veterans in World War II. Now, I would consider this the most iconic photo of Chinese American soldiers marching, because you won't find many of those occasions where you could take a photo of Chinese American veterans marching. And this was taken at a parade on Memorial Day in Springfield, Illinois. Now, I know many of you probably use the internet, but you have to be aware, because this same photo has been used on the internet where it's advertised as location Dayton, Ohio, near Wright-Patterson or Patterson Air Force Base, because that's also where Chinese Americans train. But I talked to a daughter, descendant of a member that was in this parade, and of course they vouched that this was taken at Springfield, Illinois. Okay, at the time of World War II, there were some 20,000 Chinese in America and Chinese American veterans, or Chinese Americans that served in the armed forces. About 40% of those were non-US citizens. And so, in spite of the discriminatory aspects of the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act, we had volunteers and draftees that served, and they were proud to serve as Americans. They served in all theaters of war, in all branches of the military service, and predominantly they were integrated into the force, into the Army, Army Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, Merchant Marine. There was basically only one all Chinese American unit, that was the 14th Air Service Group and the 987th Signal Company, but that was probably less than 10% of all those that served. They were involved in the full spectrum of war and combat, as well as support. And so by full spectrum, I mean on the ground, earning the combat infantry badge, the combat medical badge. They were in the air as pilots, navigators, bombardiers, and they were in other positions like aerial observers, gunners. They were across the full spectrum of combat and support, and so we should be proud of their service in World War II. Okay, I'd like to just quickly go through several that distinguished themselves. One was an awardee of the Congressional Medal of Honor, Francis B. Y., and during the assault of Leyte in the Philippines, he earned the Congressional Medal of Honor. Probably the most distinguished among the Chinese American veterans was Gordon Chung-hoon. He was a graduate of the Naval Academy. During World War II, he was a commander, and he was awarded the Navy Cross and the Silver Star. And later on, he got promoted to Admiral as the first flag rank officer in the United States Navy. And he also has a ship that has been named after him, the Chung-hoon. Dewey Lowe was the first Chinese American general in the United States Air Force. And unfortunately, after that, other than two-star Chinese Americans that were medical corps, currently there have not been and there are no other Chinese American generals in the United States Air Force. So that's quite an accomplishment for Dewey Lowe. Last week I was in San Francisco. I met two of his sons and daughters at a special World War II symposium that I participated in. Another distinguished person is Lauren I. Lowe, who won the Silver Star. The Silver Star is one of the highest awards for valor. and one of the very few Chinese Americans that won the Silver Star. And he won that during a Japanese raid of their airfield in Saipan. There was a fire that got started, and he was tasked using his bulldozer to pour scoops of dirt on the fire. They put out the fire, but what was significant, there was an